Welcome to our latest episode where we dive into the fascinating world of machine learning and programming with a special focus on a modern C++ wrapper for TensorFlow called txeo. Today, we're going to explore not only what txeo is, but also how it's transforming the way developers interact with TensorFlow through C++. Let's start with the basics. txeo is designed specifically to simplify the TensorFlow experience for C++ developers while still maintaining high performance. Have you ever struggled with low-level programming interfaces? You know, those times when the complexity just seems overwhelming? Well, txeo steps in to provide a clean and intuitive API that allows developers to work with TensorFlow more effortlessly. So what can you do with txeo? First off, it allows for high-level tensor abstraction. This means you can easily create, manipulate, and operate on tensors without having to get lost in the weeds of TensorFlow's lower-level details. Picture this. Instead of wrestling with intricate setups, imagine handling your data almost as if you were managing a simple list. That's the kind of accessibility txeo aims to provide. One of the standout features of txeo is its flexible tensor I/O. It's all about convenience. Reading and writing tensors to text files happens seamlessly, giving you one less thing to worry about. And let's not forget about model loading. txeo simplifies loading and running saved TensorFlow models, which is crucial for anyone working with pre-trained models. Now let's talk performance, because this is where it gets really interesting. txeo has been benchmarked, and the results show astonishingly minimal overhead, only about 0.65% to 1.21% slower than native TensorFlow speeds. Imagine being able to enjoy a rich API while hardly compromising on speed. It's near-native performance without that complexity hangover. Before we move on, let's highlight the installation process a bit. For our tech-savvy listeners, txeo can be set up quickly on Linux platforms like Ubuntu or Manjaro. Unfortunately, if you're on Windows or Mac OS, it's not supported just yet. But for those who can dive in, txeo offers two installation options, using precompiled binaries for a fast setup or building from source if you're feeling adventurous. Now, thinking practically, what might your experience look like when using txeo? Let's consider a couple of code examples. Imagine you're tasked with handling tensor data. You create a 3x3 tensor, save it to a file, and later load it from that file with just a few lines of code. Or maybe you're running inference on a saved model. Again, txeo makes this feel straightforward and less intimidating. As exciting as it is now, txeo is actively evolving. Future updates aim to introduce training capabilities, advanced tensor operations, and improvements in model saving and loading. Just think about integrating optimizers like SGD and Atom right into your C++ workflows. How exciting would that be? Before we wrap up today's episode, it's worth noting that txeo is open source, licensed under the Apache License 2.0. This is great for our developer community as it allows everyone to experiment and contribute. So whether you're a seasoned pro or just curious about what's possible in the world of C++ and machine learning, txeo is definitely worth checking out. As we close, I'm left reflecting, how might tools like txeo change the landscape of C++ programming in machine learning? If you're intrigued, dive deeper into txeo, and who knows, you might just find a new favorite tool for your projects. Thanks for tuning in to this episode. We encourage you to explore txeo's documentation for more insights, and if you have any thoughts or questions, feel free to reach out through GitHub discussions or via email. Until next time, happy coding and keep innovating.